of how do you take your tea? I'm here with Elisabeth K at Hamama Shel Elisabeth here in Shvat. About how close from my house?
5 minutes.
5 minutes from my house. And I'm in this explosion of Chodesh Shvat here. Thank you so much for inviting me. Just for a little background, I know that you guys have seen that I'm so busy, but it's such a blessing to be able to live here in Israel and to experience all the seasons and the holidays. And I met with Margalit Friedman of Margalit Tours, and she suggested all these awesome places that are perfect for right now in this Ona in Chodesh Shvat. And today really is the kickoff. My goal as High Energy Mom is to share all of my findings with you, other High Energy Moms, whether you live next door to me, you live in Modi'in, you live in Beit Shemesh, Yerushalayim, or if you live in Boca, or in New Jersey, or where are you from, Elizabeth?
Monsey, New York.
Or Monsey, New York. So I want to share with you all of my findings, and of course, my tips, my suggestions, deals. So guys, like my Facebook page so you'll be up to date on everything, and subscribe to my website, yochevedfeinerman.com. And you should, of course, we'll hear why in a minute, be subscribing to Elizabeth's page and find out what's going on. But it's really such a great time to be living here, and I've been busy preparing for you guys. Chodesh Tov, Elizabeth!
Chodesh Tov.
All right, Elizabeth, tell me what's in my tea. Can you guys see I have this awesome tea?
No.
Okay, what's in my tea?
So you've got lemon verbena.
Okay, you're not allowed to touch, but I have to. Lemon verbena, okay.
And you've got Melissa.
Melissa.
And you had Louisa in there as well. Yeah, and we didn't have any Nana today, but we could have it next time.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakol niyeh bidbaro.
Amen, amen.
Now, you had pliers, I saw, and you just cut them.
Yeah, I just clipped them right here for you. They're wonderful fresh, and that's the beauty of working in a garden, where everything is just here. When you're hungry, you just go out to the garden and grab something.
That's amazing. And I saw you had the Truma and Maestro bracha handy.
Yeah.
We're going to have to talk about that a lot, because I have some issues with that. I have to figure out how to do it. All right. So, Elizabeth, I want to get to know you, and I want everyone to get to know you. We are again in the Chamama Shel Elisabeth. We are in an oasis.
Yeah.
A therapeutic oasis.
Yes. In the middle of Shilat.
In the middle of Shilat. Okay, just before we even get started, Elizabeth, tell me a little bit what this center is about, and then I wanted to get to know you a little bit.
Okay, so this center is basically my dream. It's my combination of garden therapy and art therapy. And I've found a place in the middle of nature that I could actually have as a quiet, secluded place, but right next to the city. So people could actually come easily and yet find a place where they could bring their children and feel comfortable that they have a safe place for therapy.
What about the moms?
What about the moms? So the moms too, and actually that is one of the things I'm building now, is workshops for moms, because sometimes moms need that relaxing, that quiet spot. And a lot of the moms that I actually meet with about their children feel like it would be nice for them to have that place too. And I really do. I feel that it's a place where people can relax. Not only moms, dads too.
Exactly,
There are people that can come and feel the nature, connect to nature, and reconnect with themselves.
Well, that leads right into Tu B'Shvat.
Yeah.
Could you tell me, as someone who is a garden therapist, who, your work is, in the garden and in therapy with arts, could you tell us a little bit about what Rosh Chodesh Shvat, what Tu B'Shvat means to you?
So Rosh Chodesh Shvat is very special because we find ourselves in the middle of winter, middle of rain. It's cold. Sometimes people are feeling a little bit down, and all of a sudden nature starts sending us little buds, little messages. And if we don't see them, we know because it's Chodesh Shvat, so we know they should be. And Tu B'Shvat is basically the beginning of the year of Truma and Masrot for trees. It's basically the time that we say that, the rabbis have chosen, but they really work very connected to nature. And they said this is the time that the trees are basically creating their new fruit. So we can know that the Maser for that year, this will be the fruit of that year. But it gives us something a little more spiritual, because one thing is the connection to nature. Okay, so these are the oranges from this year, and those are the oranges from last year. But there's something else. It's basically understanding that underneath those trees are roots, and those roots are taking in water from the rains of the whole winter, and they're creating something that we don't see yet But we have faith, we have hope that we will see soon. We're going to soon start seeing the buds. We're going to soon start seeing the flowers. And soon enough the fruit will come. And that is a very, not only spiritual message, but a very therapeutic message. Maybe now we're in the midwinter, it might be a little hard, but soon good things will come.
As we're sitting here in our winter coats.
As we're sitting in our winter coats.
It's a very inspiring message. That,
it really is. It really is. And that's one of the things we see in the garden is we see that message all the time. All the time there are glimmers of hope. All the time there's something to look forward to. There's a vegetable that's going to be grown. There's a fruit that's going to come. There's a flower that all of a sudden bloomed and we didn't expect it. And that's really basically why nature is so important for us as human beings, to connect with that, because it's the natural cycle of life.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up if you agree with that. I want to get to know you, Elisabeth, and I'll know more about this amazing chamama. But I want all of our viewers, hi, who's there? Tara's there, Annette's there. Guys, I want you to be part of the conversation. So if you have a question for Elisabeth about the center, about Tu B'Shvat, about what you guys should put in your tea, comment below. We want to hear from you. At the end, Elisabeth, you have a special offer for all the high energy moms. So guys, watch to the end. All right, here we go, Elisabeth. I want to get to know you a little bit. Am I moving out of the camera site? Okay. I think I know the answer to my first one. Are you a coffee or a tea? Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea. Embarrassingly enough, I asked for coffee today when I walked in.
No, I love coffee too, but tea fresh from the garden is my favorite.
Okay, book or audiobook?
Book.
Book. Camping or spa?
Spa, surprisingly enough.
All right, write that down, Elisabeth.
I like to camp, but if you offer me a spa, I'll be happy to go.
Okay, boots or sneakers?
Boots.
Text or talk? That's a good one. Text or talk? What do you guys text or talk? Comment below.
Yeah,
text or talk?
Definitely talk.
Talk? Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I love to talk. A text, it doesn't give all the emotions and the feelings behind what's going on.
I hate talking.
I
see
know.
the phone around
I end up texting everybody because everybody likes to text, but I would much prefer to talk.
And now our question, how many years are you in Israel before I ask my last speed round?
I am 34 years in Israel. Yeah. I won't tell you what age I came, but I came as with my parents here 34 years ago.
So you know the answer to our last speed round, falafel or shawarma?
That's a tough one. I think shawarma.
Shawarma?
Yeah.
Oh, so, I mean, we got to get to this. You're not a vegan.
I'm not a vegan.
You're like a regular person.
I'm a very guilty non-vegan because everyone I work with is a vegan. So it's definitely, I would have probably said falafel, but I really like shawarma better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your favorite place here in town?
The truth is I very rarely have it. So I don't have a favorite place. It's just like, if I went out in the Shuk in Yerushalayim, that's what I would get,
That's the choice.
But my favorite falafel is Ofer falafel, that's for sure.
That's where I saw you that day.
Exactly.
When I was in my real, I don't know if it's a high energy mom, I saw you there at Pesach, I was like embarrassed because it was a real.
We were all getting falafel too.
It was real mom with my, Okay, how long have you been a high energy mom?
So my oldest is 25. Yeah, and she's already married and starting a home of her own. And now my youngest is 15. So
you're almost ready for the next for the next level of high energy mom. Okay, you have any pets? Are you a pet lover?
I do love pets, and usually pets that we would just find, wandering around and then let them go. I never really, I'm always somebody who loves animals in nature. So I've never really taken one and kept them. I don't have pets.
There's always time. I feel like there aren't any cats here, but
there are. They do wander around. Animals
walking here,
and we get frogs sometimes, and we get
Oh, kids must love that.
Yeah, we had mongoose, and we had a porcupine, and we just wander by.
Oh, that is so funny. All right, now we got to get into the real Rosh Chodesh Shvat, guys. I'm still waiting to hear from you. How are you spending this Rosh Chodesh Shvat? They should be spending it here in the Hamama. But Elisabeth, I really want to get to know a little bit about, I felt it when I walked in here, this oasis. Yeah. That I've gone to so many, I've dropped my kids off at so much therapy where it's another on the list of checklists, like, oh, I have to see the therapist and I find that spot and I'm aggravated and the kid is aggravated. But I came here and I was like, of course I was late. but I'm going to work on it.
I know you weren't. You were just fine.
But could you tell me a little bit about what the word chamama and what this center means to you, and a little bit of your journey? How did you decide to open up this kind of a place?
Okay, well, it was really interesting because
over here.
I was working in a school for many years as their nature teacher, their nature and Judaism teacher, in a school called Yachad in Modi'in. And
Yachad people, want to hear? Were you lucky enough, or Elisabeth was your teacher? Was your child's nature guide?
If you were, say hello. I love talking to the kids. I meet them now. Now some of them are already going into the army, and they're like, Elisabeth, you were our Teva teacher. But one of the things that I loved is the children began to call the garden, the school garden, Hagina Shel Elisabeth. And that meant a lot to me, that for them the garden was Hagina Shel Elisabeth. And as I progressed and I decided, I really wanted to learn how to work with the children more, and I studied garden therapy, and then again I wanted to have a master's in therapy, so I did art therapy. I really dreamt about connecting the two. And I was doing garden therapy as well with the children in the school, with some of the children that had challenges within the school system, and I would take them out and work with them in the garden. And then I was doing my art therapy with youth at risk in a youth village near Ben Shemen, actually in Ben Shemen, near Modi'in. And then I realized that I wanted to connect the two. And I looked for a place, I searched for a place that would have a place where I could have a huge garden, but also have my art therapy room. And one day I was buying a plant for my daughter in Wendy's garden center.
That's funny, right here.
And somebody came over to me and said, you spoke to me once about my place, the field. And I said, oh no, I need a place that has an indoor spot too. And he said, well, did you ever look into this place right here on the premises? And I said, no. And he showed me this place that had once been a restaurant and nobody was here for a few years. And he said, why don't you ask about this? And it was perfect because it connected with the garden. I had the gardening place. And when I began to think of what I would call it, I remember the children saying, Hagina Shel Elisabeth. And that to me felt like something very special. And these were all old greenhouses, chamamot. I said, this is a chamama Shel Elisabeth. And I brought the love of the children from Yachad here to this place. And that's the meaning of the word for me.
It's very special. And I was here, as you were making the tea, I just got lost here, as I'm sure the kids do when they come.
Yeah.
And I just was, immersed in this experience, a renewal of the trees and of the plants. I went outside. I see your border also on, what's that called over outside?
So that's the Wendy's Garden Center. That's their whole tree section where you can actually buy their whole, a tree for your garden here. The whole area there is their whole center with flowers, and it's wonderful. And whenever I need something for the garden, I can just go out and pick it up and bring it in.
Tell me a little bit about the process of, if I wanted to sign up. Not that everyone in my house is perfect. But what's the process? What kind of children do you see?
Okay, so the children come with different challenges. I do see a lot of anxiety, children that are just feeling very stressed and just either, coming out in anger or coming out and crying a lot, and so a parent might call for that. Another parent might call and say, listen, my child has low self-esteem. They're a great kid, but they just are not able to see their strengths. I want to work on helping them find their strengths. Other children, the family's going through a divorce, the family's going through difficult family problems, a loss, God forbid, in the family. So, really can be many, many different issues. And I'll sit with the parents. The parents will start off calling me, Elisabeth, what can we do?
Elizabeth's number, I'm going to put it on the notes after, and you could like her Facebook page, and you have a website too, right?
Not yet.
Okay,
not yet.
We're working on the website, but definitely I'm going to put the number up so you'll have, if you need to call, I need to call. Highlight me in bold.
So parents will call up and say, listen, Elisabeth, I don't know, would this be right for my child? And that's what I want people to feel comfortable calling and asking that, because sometimes it's very scary just to pick up that phone, like, oh, am I committing to seeing this woman? No, you call up, ask me, tell me a little bit about your child, a little bit about what can we do? And then we start off with a meeting with the parents, only the parents. And that's a chance for me to hear more about the child, me to understand what the child's issue is, and also their whole development from the pregnancy, the birth, and how things developed over the years. Maybe there was trouble early on, maybe the problems only, the challenges, we'll call them, not problems, but the challenges only began later on. Or maybe there's something that is important for me to know in the family history that would help me understand the child. And it also gives the parents a chance to see the place. So parents can come in and say, oh, is this right for me? They're sitting with me for an hour. Do I feel comfortable with Elisabeth? Would my child feel comfortable with Elisabeth? And I get a chance to see if we can work together and to understand the child. And at that point, parents will go home and make their decision. And this is before the child is exposed to the place. Because the child could come in and say, oh, wow, this is so much fun. But it has to be a place where the parents feel that the child will actually be able to have good therapy. And that's important for them to know before they bring the child. And then we begin. And then I see the children once a week. And we work, but we work through the art and through the garden. So it might be just starting to build the garden and design it. And I can start getting a feeling of how a child works, where they choose to put their garden, what they choose to put around the garden. Little by little, I can get to know the child, not only with what they tell me, but also with what they do. And that helps a lot.
Sounds really great. Do people ever finish therapy here? 'Cause I think it would continue on.
It's very interesting because a lot of times we have to really choose how to end therapy, because the child is doing well and we want to end, but sometimes they're enjoying it. Most of the time they're enjoying it. Sometimes the child is also ready. They feel, okay, we finished. But many a times the child is really happy to come. It's fun. So we work together in ending it in a way. We first of all, we always say, we're going to be ending now in 6 times. And each time we go, we count back. Sometimes parents will choose to end at the end of the year, in June. And that's a really good time to end. Sometimes if they're really finished and it's January, we'll speak to the child and say how well they've done, how much they've accomplished, and we're going to be ending. And then we actually, one of the wonderful things in art especially, is that we take out everything they've done. And the child begins to look and see how they've grown and how they've changed. We look at their garden and we see what they've managed to grow, what they've managed to develop. And there's a real satisfaction in how they took just a plot of land, and some of the children even create their own garden by moving rocks and making it. And all of a sudden there's a beautiful place with flowers and vegetables. And they bring those vegetables home. Sometimes we'll even actually take plants out of the earth. We'll put them in pots and they'll take some of them home so that they can grow them and continue the process at home. And sometimes they'll say, no, we're leaving them. They've already reached the stage that they feel like they're ready to give to others. We'll leave them to the next children. So it's a very powerful thing, but it has to be done very gently and really considering the child's feelings. And of course, I work together with the parents, so it's a constant discussion. How are they doing? Where are we? The parents giving me feedback how they're doing. Sometimes speaking to the teachers, and we decide together usually how and when to end the therapy.
All right, well, I just am ready for the beginning. Okay, Elisabeth, we have a lot of high energy moms who are watching us. Hi, everybody. We're here at החממה של Elisabeth here in Shvat in Modi'in in Israel. And Elisabeth, I need a little free therapy. Free therapy for all the moms out there for Tu B'Shvat in honor of for the new month. You mentioned school and you mentioned Yachad and kids needing therapy, and there's so many, and perhaps it's just me, but where the school calls upon us all the time, and it is the dads, and my husband is wonderful, but it's they call on us moms and they're like, Ima, what's your pitaron? We don't have any more solutions. What are you going to do? And it's this pressure of all the other children are fine here in this class. Your child's not. All the kids are fine in Ezra and B'nai Akiva. Your kid's not. And just we look around, and this one's running a marathon, and this one's doing yoga, and this one's doing art, and this one went on a great vacation. Like, we're just living in this world where it's constantly that we're not measuring up, and we're not living up to our own expectations of what, and as I'll say, as a high energy mom and woman, I want to make today better than yesterday. I want to have a great pair of new shoes. But as a therapist and as someone who's really involved in the garden and the outside, what's your advice for me and other high energy moms?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's perspective. And sometimes you can get a call from a substitute teacher, a teacher that's moved in for 3 months when the other teacher went on, on her maternity leave, and all of a sudden, there's hysterics about your child. So sometimes you have to look at the teacher. Is this a teacher that really understands my child? This is a teacher who has experience. Now, sometimes maybe they're bringing up an issue, and that's something that you have to look at and say, speak to your partner, speak to anyone who knows the child more, and try, maybe some of the other teachers, and try to see if this is really the problem that's going on. Is there a major problem? And other times we can take a step back and say, okay, maybe my child is acting up because we've had this and this go on in the family, but I know that that's what the issue is, and I'm going to give him the support at home, him or her the support at home, the love at home, and I know this will pass. Sometimes it won't, and we need to go and look for a therapist. But I think that we have to also remember that not everything has to be perfect all the time. And sometimes I think as moms, we look at everything that's going on Facebook and everything that's going on out there, and we're like, why aren't I there? Why didn't I get my 4 kids out in the morning and do that trip, and maybe because they were all sleeping in, and that was fine, and maybe we just can't get out in the mornings, and that's also fine. But we can't do everything, and sometimes we have to just look at what we like to do and what our children like to do, and just feel good about the love we're giving our children, and forgive ourselves. I think that's the biggest thing, is forgiving ourselves, trying our best to make our home a happy home. But it doesn't mean that your home is happy because we went to every single thing that was offered on Hanukkah.
That was offered on the High Energy Mom Tu B'Shvat. That was offered on the High Energy Mom Tu B'Shvat blog. We want you to go there. You have a month to go there.
But that's the thing. We can do that. We can go do one thing, do 2 things, and that's amazing, and that's wonderful, and feel good about it. We can't do everything. We can give as much as we can give, and we can do our best. But we have to try to also remember that we need to feel good about ourselves, and it might just be walking out into the local park and looking at the Shkedia HaPorachat and Tu B'Shvat and saying, wow, that's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? Hey, let's take a picture, kids. And that was something wonderful. Maybe we didn't do the 5-hour hike that was offered, but we did that, and that is wonderful. There are beautiful hills around Modi'in that we can go wander off with the kids for an hour on a Friday. There's so many things that we can just take those little moments and just feel good about them.
Wow, free therapy, good tea. Guys, you got to come out to the Chamama. Elisabeth, tell me, you told me you're starting a new, because the kids, it's not just for kids, like I want to come with you guys here. Do you have programs for not just women, for adults and families?
Yeah, so really the place started off a year ago as exclusively for child therapy. But as it's moving along, I see that a lot of people have come here and just, they said, we want to stay. What workshops are you doing? And I was approached actually by a wonderful Amutah that works with the blind, and they said, we want to bring our staff here. And they came, they had 2 workshops for 2 different members, 2 different groups, and they just loved it. So I decided that I really need to start, offering more workshops. The workshop we did was making beautiful glass terrariums, like the one that's sitting right. Yeah, this is one that I just made as a sample, but they did just beautiful things with taking. I just put out the art supplies. I took out the beautiful succulents, and they planted, and they created little ladders and little hammocks and all sorts of things, and built their own little magical world. And that's something that was very symbolic, because you come into this little world, and it's a mini world. It's something how I feel in therapy also. The children create their own mini world here, and we practice things. And little by little, they can bring these new things they've learned, these new behaviors out to the big world. But we as adults can also come and just kind of leave our outside world behind, come into this little magical world, and even build our own little magical world and take it home with us. And we can remember those moments where we did something creative and did something artistic. So these are workshops that I'm offering now as team building workshops, as just
Fabulous.
fun workshops.
What does a team mean? How many people do you need for a team?
I would say about 15.
Okay.
15. I think my biggest group would be like 20 to 25. I wouldn't take more than that because I like this a place to be intimate, and I want it to be with me. But those are usually the.
All right. And what if people sign up? High energy moms out there, sign up for this 14 plus for a group team building workshop. It would be a team, a group workshop.
Yeah, a group
with
workshop.
Elisabeth. Say High Energy Mom sent you.
Yep.
And can I get a discount?
Sure, of course.
Oh, yay! What's the discount? Sign up, Chodesh Shvat, all High Energy Moms sign up for a group activity here, 14 plus 14, not age, but
right.
14 or more people in this month of Shvat.
Right.
And you will receive a 10% discount. Thank you! All right, guys, it has free therapy, great tea, out here in the Oasis. I didn't even have to drive 2 hours, although I love it. Guys, you have to stay tuned and watch this spot. And Elisabeth and I, we share a friend. I wanted to do a shout out to Shari. Hi, Shari.
Hey, Shari.
Shari connected Elisabeth and I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll share some of the free therapy. Well, you heard Elisabeth and her calming. But guys, watch this spot, like my page, subscribe to the blog, and you will be finding out all of my research and my findings and the high energy places that I've researched. That Margalit Friedman's like, go see this place of Margalit tours, and the people that I've met, and the food that I've ate, and the coffee that I drank, and of course the wine. It was the middle of the day. I couldn't drink that much wine at Alexander Winery. So it is going to be a high energy Chodesh Shvat here.
Yes,
Thank
it
you,
is.
Elizabeth, for kicking it off.
Thank you,
With a
Chodesh
calm
Tov.
energy. With a calm energy, and like Elizabeth's page,
Please.
and guys, call her. During the whole month of Shvat, 10% discount for groups of 14 or more. Love to hear from you. Elisabeth, you'll be checking this spot.
I will.
You can, Elizabeth's going to, if you have a question that is public, you could comment. You can comment on it. Elizabeth will answer. We'll be watching the spot today and all week. Guys, from here in Modi'in and Shilat, have a high energy day. Have a high energy month. Thank you. And live video. And let's end this one. And we're trying a whole new system today. I think it worked. Tell me if you guys like it.